Walking alone is a way to ease your mind. But what would you do about the shadows that lurk behind? Don't be afraid of the dark, for this is Tales from Around the Campfire. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Tales from Around the Campfire. Yes. How are you guys? Hopefully, you guys are having a really great day today. Listen, we're 11 episodes in, and you know, my only regret was that I came underprepared for this series. But like throughout this whole time, I was wondering, like like name change and stuff like that, like looking everywhere to see if anybody had this name or not, and so it took me a while. I will. I want to. Yeah. Okay. I will be more prepared when the special comes on Halloween, and next season for next year. So, be sure to look for that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So yesterday we were reading some weird stories, right? Some claim to be scary, but they weren't. But hey, to each his own, right? So for today, we're going to be going to a website called ranker.com. And by the way, I keep forgetting that all these websites that I'm reading from, I will leave a link in the description to each website that I read. So if I read like from two websites, I'll leave both of them down below. So, yes, ranker.com. Okay, and there's a header in here. It says graveyard shift. Ooh, spooky. Okay, and the title of the article is called "Scary True Stories That American Horror Stories Should Make a Season About." All right, and this one is by uh, Lyra Radford. I was gonna call it Red. I don't know. Anyways, Radford. Yes. So it's by her. It does not have a date to it. You know, but American Horror Story. I I have seen a couple episodes. Like um, pretty interesting. Just not my cup of tea, of course. It has list rules apparently, but we are going to be skipping that. If you guys want to read it for yourself, read the rules for yourself, and we're going to go straight to the uh, the stories, right? So, this first story is called, actually, like the first ghost story that she thinks that American Horror Story should make is the Demon House of Gary, Indiana. The infamous Demon House in Gary, Indiana, made headlines in 2014 when Latoya Emmons and her three children sought out exorcism to rid themselves of demons. There was extensive media coverage, police involvement, and even members of the Department of Child Services got involved with these claims and witnessed unexplained horrors in the house. Footsteps, flickering lights, and strange sounds in the night quickly escalated to a 12-year-old child levitating off of a bed, a 9-year-old walking backwards up a wall in front of a nurse and case manager, and then full-on demonic possessions of the members of the family. The family reached out to two uh, clairvoyants, both of whom claimed the house was infested with 200 demons. The Catholic Church, the Catholic Church, to intervene. Wait, what? I think it means they asked the Catholic Church to intervene and perform multiple exorcisms. The demon house has since been demolished by paranormal investigators. Zach Beggins. Beggins purchased the house in 2014 to shoot a documentary and found a place to evil uh, evil to live stand. What? Oh no, not again. But it is too evil to inspire American Horror Stories Demon House with a question mark. I'm saying that again because the whole grammatic thing. Oh, dude, it's like my brain's trying to read it one way, and all of a sudden, like jumps me with different things that it's pretty hard to read. like I said, if y'all don't believe me, just click on the link below. But yes, the Demon House of Gary, Indiana. Let me tell you, that doesn't sound right. This is over 200 demons, dude. What? How's that even possible? I mean, uh, from us reading things about the supernatural and monster related, this doesn't really surprise me at all. But yes, um, should this be a season for American Horror Story? I mean, what is a season? Like a couple episodes? Um, I don't know, right? I mean, if they had the history, you know what I'm saying? Like if they have like the explanation why the demons are just hanging out there, I guess it'll make it good, for a good season of American Horror Stories. So we're moving along to the second story called Fox Hollow Farm. Okay, so sprawling wooded sprawling wooded estate owned by an unassuming family man with murderous impulses became a mass burial site for gay men living in Indianapolis. The story itself is rife with twists, creepy dolls, and sex perfect for AHS. In the true story, Herb Baumeister was living a double life. He was a married father of three and business owner who was secretly luring gay men back to his home to strangle them to death in his creepy pool surrounded by mannequins. Then he would burn or bury their bodies in the yard where the children played. Once his double life had been revealed, Baumeister took off to Canada to commit suicide in Pennery Provincial Park. Prior to killing himself, he set the stage in a ritualistic fashion, building up a sand mound and surrounded it with dead birds as an altar for himself. When then he positioned himself on with his arms stretched out and shot himself. In 1996, police investigated the property, uncovering 5,500 bones, but more are still being discovered by current owners today. After his death, Baumeister was also linked to the 170 murderers, or I-70 murders, I think. That's what it means. After speaking with his wife, authorities discovered he traveled lined up with the series of unsolved murders where the bodies were dumped along I-70. The number of lives he claimed remain uncertain to this day. Man, I was messed up, bro. Should this be an American Horror Story season? Ow. I don't know, actually, because of like how things are going with America, and it's kind of like a touchy subject. Um, but it'll be interesting because we have a backstory of his life and everything, but we still don't know why he did it. It's always there's always has to be a why he has done the things he has done. He doesn't wake up one day and goes like, hey, you know what? I feel like murdering over 5,500 people. Yeah, that's it. you know. In White Canada, man, again with Canada, dude. We read like what 2 stories yesterday about Canada, and and here we are again with Canada once again. Oh boy, just be careful out there. You know what I mean? Pay attention to your surroundings, and just be safe. Just be safe. Next story is called the SS Our Rank McGann. Wait a minute, isn't this the same story that the game is based on? You know what I'm talking about? That new survival game that looks almost exactly like that other game that I totally forgot. Anyways, here we go. The American Horror Story Sweet Dreams trailer seemed to hint at a horror at sea. How awesome would AHS Ghost Ship be? The historic mystery of the SS Our Rank McGann would be a great place to pull inspiration from. According to the legend, multiple ships picked up distress calls from the SS Our Rank McGann. The message received was broken up into two parts with undecipherable Morse code between them. The message said SOS from Orang Medan, and then, you know, something unexplainable. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead. In chat room and on the bridge, probably whole of crew dead. I die. That's the message, okay? That is the message. I think that's how it actually translates to. So I'll forgive that. When the ship was actually found drifting near Indonesia, the entire crew aboard the Orang Medan was dead, eyes wide open and mouth gaping. And there's a link to the Wikipedia page to Orang Medan. You know, we'll read a couple. We'll read a little bit of this. Here we go. The SS Orang Medan was an alleged ghost ship, which, according to various sources, became a shipwreck in Dutch East Indies water. I heard footsteps again. Okay, in the waters or elsewhere after his entire crew had died under suspicious circumstances, either in 1940, 1947, or 1948, depending on the newspaper source. The story of the Orang Medan has become somewhat of a legend at this point, you know. Possible incidents that Wikipedia thinks is, according to the story, at some point of time in around June 1947. Geddes and other list the approximate dates. Okay, the quotation doesn't do anything. Two American vessels navigating the Straits of Malacca, the city of Baltimore, and the Silver Star, among other passing by, picked up several distress messages from the nearby Dutch merchant ship Orang Medan. A radio operator aboard the troubled vessel sent the following message in Morse code: SOS from the Orang Medan, ... We float. All officers, including the captain, dead. In chat room and on the bridge, probably whole crew dead. ... A few confused dots and dashes of Morse code later, the two words became clear. There were I die. Then, after the chilling message was nothing more heard of. Yes, it was that radio silent. When the Silver Star crew eventually located and boarded the apparently undamaged Orang Medan in an attempt at a rescue, the ship was found littered with corpses, including the carcass of a dog everywhere, with the dead bodies found sprawled on their back and the frozen and alleged bodily frightened faces of the deceased upturned to the sun above, with mouth gaping open and eyes staring straight ahead, with the corpse resembling horrible caricatures. No survivors were located, and no visible signs of injuries on the bodies were observed. Just as the ship was to be prepared for a tow by the Silver Star to a nearby port, a fire then suddenly broke in on the ship number 4 cargo hold, forcing the boarding party to hastily evacuate the doomed Dutch freighter, thus preventing any further investigation to be carried out. Soon after, the Orang Medan was witnessed exploding before finally sinking. Wow. I mean, okay. What were they, what were they floating with? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a weird story. Okay, I'm back. Whew, my voice was was leaving me. It was SOSing the hell out of it. I got to apologize for that. I do feel it in my throat though. Okay, but yeah. So the SS Orang Medan. Oh man, I forgot the game, man. It's fairly new too. I wanted to play it, but I kind of spoiled it myself. I watched Delirious's H2O Delirious gameplay of the game, and he was playing with cartoons, and that was that. Damn it. Damn, but yeah, a pretty good game though. Pretty good game so far. You know, what I mean, I do like those. Whatever you take is going to be the consequences. In other words, would this make a good show? I believe so. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculations on what happened in 1940, well, from 1946 through 1948. So it's up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like you could do anything pretty much. Like it's up to you to figure out what happened. Because we don't have concrete evidence of what actually went down, and seeing how the carcasses aboard the ship were facing up with their mouth wide open and pretty much staring into the space. Something bad happened. You know what I'm saying? It sounded like it wasn't a bad trip. So that would be a very interesting series or season to see of AHS, of course. Moving on, we're gonna go to the story called "The Bloody Benders." From 1871 to 1873, John Bender and his wife and two kids ran an inn and general store in Kansas, where the customers usually end up victims. A Bender family dinner was pretty brutal affair. It would involve uninviting and unsuspecting guests to sit over a secret trap door with their back to a curtain so John could pop out and bash them in the head with a hammer. Then one of the kids would slash their throat before opening the trap door that led to the basement. They buried all the corpses out to a nearby orchid. Randomly enough, the Benders lived near Laura Ingalls Wilder, famous for Little House on the Prairie. She even mentioned the family and their exploits in some of her writings and speeches. A creepy family of murderers in the prairie sounds right up American Horror Stories alley. Sure. You know, kind of weird if there is enough evidence to suggest why everybody in the family, even the kid, would be a part of this. And yeah, if some strangers would have invited me to come over and eat dinner, I would have been like, homie, I don't think so. Listen, I'll just run to Jack in the Box and order the number 5, right, with large fries and a large Coke. That's my dinner right there. I wouldn't go into somebody's house, especially in 1971. Those were the dark ages, man. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. All right, we're gonna move on. I'm actually checking how many stories we have in hand right now. Okay, it's 14, 15. All right, 15. Oh, and there's another list as well. Okay, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna do like 2 more stories, and then we're gonna take a break, and address the elephant in the room, and of course a word from our sponsors. Get some sponsors. The next story is called the Black River Falls. Right? It seems some dark power fell over the people of Black River Falls. What is this? Wyoming, I think. WI. I can't remember the abbreviation of the country. Between the years of 1890 and 1900, the small mining town experienced a climate change that caused the mines to shut down. Many residents left. Those who remained were plagued with illness, poverty, murder, suicides, devil worship, and madness. It seemed the entire town was cursed by some dark, merciless force. It's thought to be haunted beyond belief and inspired Michael Leslie's book, Wisconsin's Death Trip. It's Wisconsin. Okay. So it's Black River Falls, Wisconsin. The photo documentation is dark, hellish, jarring, and something American Horror Stories could build and really interesting season. Okay, yeah. Should this be a season? Again, it's just like the Madang, Orangutan. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Weird circumstances. All of a sudden, people going crazy, worshiping the devil. Murdering, suicide. Wow, that's crazy. Not too far from where I live right now, as we speak. I do live, I believe, right, like not next to, because it's still some drive away. But there's an abandoned silver mine, I believe. It was. It's pretty interesting. Would I go there? No, no way, man. But yes, should this be a show? Yeah, why not? That'd be interesting. All right, moving on to a well-known place that we all know. It's I think it's outside the the coast of I forgot what's it called. I forgot what's it called. Dang it, I forgot the place. But this story is called the Alcatraz Penitentiary. Fans have been screaming, more like typing in all caps, for an American Horror Story prison for quite some time now. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, which is reportedly one of the most haunted locations in the country, would be the ideal place to start. They had famous inmates like Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, Arthur Duck Barker, and the first Public Enemy number one, Alvin Karpis. Obviously, though, there would be plenty of vengeful ghosts of some insanely violent individuals. Any earthbound spirits of guards and administrators would be pretty terrifying as well, since this facility was known for inmate treatments of prisoners. Back in the 30s, prisoners were kept in whole cells. There is even talk about the land itself being haunted long before the prison went up. According to local historians, the land was a Native American burial ground. Complaint of haunting have even been going since it opened up. Huh. I'm watching. I'm sorry, that was a dope. I'm watching an ad of some shoes right now. Uh, in this website that apparently they're indestructible. You can walk on nails. You can get ran over, and you'll be fine. But they look ugly. Okay. I don't know. Anyways, that's beside the point. The point is, should this be a American Horror Story? I don't know. Really, Alcatraz Prison. I mean, it's still up. You know. I really don't know. I mean, the only two that I would be watching if they would make it would be the Orang Medan and the Black River Falls. Those two sound very interesting. So yeah, that would be that would be interesting. All right, we're gonna go to another story that we all know. All right, it's called the Winchester Mystery House, and we all know what the Winchesters did. There was a thing going on with them. If you don't know the story, hopefully it summarizes. So hopefully we have the synopsis of the story of the actual story that happens here. So there may be some Winchester Mystery House inspiration following flowing through AHS Hotel, but there should be a full season dedicated to the real story of Sarah Winchester and her remarkable house. She built an entire mansion with strange doors and staircase leading to nowhere, or perhaps somewhere the living can't see. After the death of her husband, heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, and child in the 1800s, Winchester went to see a medium. The medium told her to go out west and craft a house for the ghosts of those killed by the Winchester rifles. So she did, continuously adding rooms, windows, doors, balconies, and staircases, all all to appease the spirits she communicated in her seance room. And that was pretty much the synopsis. You know, uh, the inventor of the Winchester rifle went to a seer, and she told him, "Yo, you know what? Everybody that has been killed by your gun is gonna come back unless you like trap them in the house." Uh yeah, you know, uh, and he started building it, and it's still going on through generations and generations. I guess you could say that. I don't know if the Winchesters have like, uh, how to put it, another child to keep completing the house, because apparently the house is still under construction at this point. I think. Um, but now the question would be is, if the if the seance went like how they said, why would he go west? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't he just build the house where he invented the gun? You know, it makes no sense to me. Actually, it doesn't. Uh, yeah, I don't know. But would this make a good show? They actually made a movie about it. I haven't watched it, and to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if it would make a real good season for American Horror Stories. But with that, I want to thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. You know, I want to make this quick. Actually, come on, brain, pick up the words. Thank you guys for coming. You know, again, I really do appreciate it. You know, you guys sitting here with me in the campfire, reading all these stories, and you know, some of them are really scary. Some of them are interesting as well. Some of them are sad, you know, romantic and stuff like that. And you know, it's just interesting. You know, if the Book of Life, that is the movie that I was talking about the other day. That they said that, you know, a loved one doesn't really go away if you keep remembering them. You know, that's why us Mexicans, we have the Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos, which we honor and remember all our loved ones for one night of good time with everybody. You know what I mean? And it's a lovely day. I really love Day of the Dead. I really love it to death, and I will continue to celebrate it up until Sherboy becomes part of the dead, and hopefully they remember me so I can continue loving the Day of the Dead. You know what I mean? Yes, but yes, you know, these stories, you know, sometimes it's like a ventilation for somebody to be like, okay, you know what, I gotta get this off my chest, because things happen, you know, and you know, we remember those who have fallen victims of, you know, unwilling such. Yes, and also, listen, I want to give you guys a little secret. Right, come closer to the screen of your phone or your monitor. Just hey, listen, don't play with your phones while you drive. Do not play with your phones while you drive, because it is annoying and it is dangerous. You're not only putting yourself in danger, but you're putting other people in danger as well. You know, you may, yeah, okay, you may have the cars that beep every time you're close to something else, but really, you know, that technology can bust anytime, and you're left without a beep, and all of a sudden you're like you're knee deep in your phone, and you're waiting for that beep to come, because your brain goes like, okay, you know what? Once the beep comes, I will, like, you know, push the brakes, or the car will brake for me. You know. But what if that technology fails you, huh? It Technology fails you. You don't hear the beep. Bam! You just rear-ended somebody, or you hit somebody in the street, or you flipped your car over. You know, you gotta pay attention, man. Put your phones away. It's not the text or the phone call. It's not interesting. Your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife will understand that you were driving. You know, and you know, it's just, you know, be safe out there. Like I keep saying, you know, I don't want to read no stories next year, or you know, for Halloween, on how one of you guys actually accidentally died because you were in your phone. So please, put your phones away. Pay attention on the road. Moving along, we're gonna go to a story called Centralia, Pennsylvania, the real Silent Hill. Between the video game and the movie, you'd think Silent Hill was a done deal, but it doesn't have to be. At least not the real Silent Hill that is. The story anyone knows was inspired by a real extremely eerie small town called Centralia in Pennsylvania. What once had a population of about 3,000 people is now completely abandoned and has been on fire since 1962. There is plenty of horror fuel in this small mining town setting, but a the decapitated, densely fog covered town of Centralia is just too good as a setting to pass up. Oops, I almost dropped my tablet again. Again with the grammatical errors here. Ooh, that turned me off. Like, that was Not interested in the story as soon as I just read the last couple sentences. Um, will this be a good story? I mean, we already know what Silent Hill is. We've seen the movies, we play the games. I don't know. We don't really need another adaptation of the game that it's not gonna go to par. You know what I mean? All right, we're moving on right away because I want to get that taste out of my mouth. That not grammatically correct thing. Anyways, another story is called Yosemite National Forest. There are some seriously strange stories coming out of Yosemite National Forest. Gross, Gross Lake has its own Jason Voorhees haunting its waters. Allegedly, a young boy drowned there and tries to pull swimmers down to the bottom of the lake with him. There's also an evil water spirit that lures people to their death near the waterfalls. In addition to Bigfoot sightings, Yosemite is also home to the creatures of legend known as the night crawlers or Fresno aliens. Brutal murders has been taking place beneath its dense canopy, and serious and mysterious disappearance are a regular occurrence. There's a plethora of creepiness in every national forest in the United States. This could be the perfect setting for all sorts of crazy stories in a new AHS season. I guess, you know what I mean? Oof. Nightcrawlers, Jason Voorhees, dude, we already know that stuff. Yeah, you know, I guess it would be a pretty good one. I don't know if there is an episode, but I was watching something on what is it? AHMC. I believe that's a channel. But I was watching something in there. It's like a Jason Voorhees ripoff, you know? It's like some dude from the mental institution comes out of nowhere in California and all of a sudden starts killing people in a camp. Never really watched it through though, so I don't know what happens after that. All right, we're gonna go next, and this is actually a creepy pasta. Look at that, and we all know it, and we all love it. It's called the Rake, of course. The Rake creepypasta originated on a 4chan message board. It is, however, basically a more intense modern approach to the old dogman legend. The Rake is more humanoid, but has also been described as a hairless dog-like creature with clawed hands. According to the lore, mentions of the Rake date back in the 13th century with early sightings throughout the northern east region of the United States. One terrifying encounter was reported by a couple who woke up to this terrifying creature sitting at the edge of their bed one night. The beast scuttled over towards the husband before darting off for their daughter's room to attack her. The last words of the blood-soaked were simply, "He is the Rake." What? The husband rushed to get the little girl to the hospital, but they both died in a car crash on the way. The wife is still alive and claimed to begin sleeping with the tape recorder. It still comes to her room at night. Definitely creepy enough to inspire at least an AHS character. Yeah, the Rake. Oof, that would be pretty interesting, right? Uh, they did also make a Slenderman movie. Haven't watched it. You know, hopefully it comes out on DVD soon. If it did already, I'm probably missing out, dude. Jeez, where have I been? But yeah, that would be very interesting. This next one's called Jack the Ripper. We all know his handiwork. Would this make a good AHS without reading the synopsis of the story? I don't think so. To be completely honest with you, I do not think so. Okay, okay. American Horror Story Ripper has a nice ring to it. They've already given the Axeman a storyline. Why not follow the infamous Jack the Ripper for a spell? An unidentified killer that stalked the impoverished streets of Victorian era London, slicing prostitutes with surgical-like precision. It's pretty shocking. Why they haven't taken a stab at the story already? If you're unfamiliar with the Reaper story, he's considered the first serial killer of modern times. He is also known for brutalizing his victims, and identity is still unknown to this day. Now, I'm not gonna go into his story because I already know it. If you haven't know it, you know, click on the link that says Jack the Ripper in here, and I'm pretty sure it'll take you to the Wikipedia. Um, I know his story. I know his, like, I think it was like 5 famous kills he has done, and up to this day, they don't know who he was. There were speculations, however, that he actually turned himself in to the uh, to the psyche ward. You know what I mean? He went to the mental institution, turned himself in, stating that he was Jack the Ripper, and according to the story, nobody believed him, but he did actually go inside. You know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what really happened that day? All right, we're moving on because this video it is getting a lot longer than I anticipated. This one is called the Tax Texarkana Moonlight Murders. All right. Um, and I'm guessing this is a poster, a movie poster. The top says, in 1946, this man killed 5 people. Today, he still lurks the streets of Texarkana, Ark. Charles B. Prenser, the town that has dreaded sundown. A true story. I think I've seen this movie. I think. I'm not too sure. It looks familiar. But yeah, so in the spring of 1946 was a waking nightmare for the people of Texarkana. A monster in the shape of a man wearing a sack over his head with the eyes cut out was attacking and killing young couples in their cars at night. He became known as a phantom killer, and his crimes, labeled the Moonlight Murders, plagued residents in the Arkansas and Texas side of the state line. Authorities instituted a curfew and worked overtime to identify the phantom, but they never did. The phantom simply vanished after killing 5 people and seriously injured 3 more. The seemingly random strings of murders remain unsolved. The motion, the motive, and the identity of the madman behind the mask continues to haunt many. It inspired the film The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Again, my voice was leaving. I do apologize. And the popular urban legend The Hook. Ryan Murphy could brilliantly explore some of the theories through the season of American Horror Story. Okay. Yeah. I think I did. I think I did see the story, the movie. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And you know what? I think actually, you know what? Okay. My voice. My voice is going away. We're gonna read one more because I was skimming through the website right now, and I did see one that pretty much everybody knows, right? It's called Slenderman. Slenderman became more than just a creepy internet urban legend when people decided to start taking him seriously. The tall, thin, faceless entity known for abducting children from forests and playgrounds was nothing more than the creation of Victor Surge on a something awful forum. But people believed he was real. Two 12-year-old girls, Anissa Weyer and Morgan Gazer, believed in the myth and spent 5 months planning the murder of their friend Peyton Leutner, also 12, as a sacrifice to Slenderman. Apparently, they thought stabbing Peyton would gain them permission to move into the fictional character's mansion with the within the Nicollet National Park. Peyton was found on the side of the road in Waukesha, Wisconsin, completely drenched in blood. She'd been stabbed 19 times in her arms and legs and torsos. She suffered serious injuries to vital organs but survived, crawled her way to the edge of the woods and out into the road for help. The fiction meets reality story would be a great premise to AHS. I have seen this report on the news when it came out. I did see it. What I think about it, it was pretty dumb. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Like, oh my god. Why would you do that? Especially 12-year-old girls, bro. It is oof. You know what I mean? Violent video games make people violent. Let me tell you what. believing in Slenderman makes people violent. Jesus Christ. But yes, that was it. What was that like? 11 or 12 stories that we read that should be in AHS. Do let me know which ones that we read do you think that would be a good season for AHS and why. Tomorrow we will be reading the rest because there is another page to this, and we'll continue where we left off. But yes, thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you could do so. The links will be in the description below. If you have stories that you guys want to share, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll read them in the next episode, and I'll give credit where credit is due. Also, if you don't want to hit me up on Twitter, put them in the comment section below, and again, I'll give credit where credit is due. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Chapter 11, episode 11 of season 1 of the Tales from Around the Campfire. Again, I was about to call it the After Dark podcast because that one just rolls off the tongue, But Tales from Around the Campfire is pretty good too. I like it. Yes. So when dust settles in and the moon begins to quell the sun, remember to always look behind you. Until the next one. Peace out, everybody.